Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot and to another episode of the Elite TA sessions. These sessions are on Thursday, midday UK time, and what we do is basically we gather from Elite members from my Patreon the coins and the assets that they want me to review. If you want to be part of that, there is a link in the description so you get priority for the coins and the assets that you want TA done in these live streams. But don't worry if you are in the live stream and you are not part of the Elite membership, you can still request coins. It's just that you are gonna be second after the Elite members. We got a few coins coming in and we have an asset that has been recurring. One of the members is very interested in rare earths, so we're gonna cover that as well. We're gonna cover Ethereum, Solana, Chiliz, and a little bit of Bitcoin, of course. If you are the first one to comment and request another coin, we're gonna do it first as soon as we get done with the Elite, and right after that we will complete the hour with any requests that you have, including things like liquidity. We're gonna cover momentum, RSI, and all of that. Starting with Ethereum, which in this instance I'm not just gonna do against USDT, but I'm also gonna look and sneak into what's going on against BTC, the ETH BTC pair. Let's start with the weekly time frame on Ethereum USDT, because there's something going on in here that we were expecting to see around December, when was the last time prior to me going for holidays. I was mentioning that there might be the opportunity that this has had so much sharp fall around here that we get something similar to these three circles in here, which is forming a double bottom and breaking out on the RSI. And guess what? Well, I went for holidays and here we are ready for producing a similar setup. It might fail, of course. I don't have crystal balls, you know that perfectly well. But if we do make use of this double bottom, we could see a swing, and that's something that we've been calling from December. Now we are early January and we have completed the second leg of the double bottom. So should we pay attention? Let's pay attention. This is a breakout on the weekly time frame. It's got an opportunity to go somewhere at the middle of the range. I will say RSI 60 is the best that we can squeeze out of this, in my opinion. So next question is, if we do that, what's the price of that? And second, why do you think that only 60? Why not getting into 95, right? Well, anything is possible really, right, in physics, but it takes a little bit of a miracle at this point in time, after so many failures, to see something so outstanding out of the blue. It's just being realistic based on what's going on. It's not necessarily canceling out 100% the opportunity to see something life-changing, but well, I prefer to be realistic and always to go with the setups that have higher likelihood. And on the weekly, you can see that longs versus shorts throughout the bull cycle were bouncing off. Longs extended and longs getting squashed, extended, squash, and we were expecting to go to extended again. We were open to that idea. We broke out, but we fully failed and we basically squash all the longs in Ethereum all the way to the percentile low at 26. So we have already bounced from that second percentile, which is the lowest level of longs that we can have according to statistics, not according to crystal ball, but statistics say that around there should be a bounce, and we are experiencing already that bounce. In the price action, that's a breakout. On the momentum, in the momentum is a breakout. In the price action is not yet anything apart from just maybe reclaiming this area of support in here, in the middle of an area of no volume. So that in here is what we could eventually in the future look back in time and say, well, that was the double bottom, right? It's similar to accumulation areas in here or in here. And it's currently going on. We're paying attention. Let's go to the daily, where we're going to see a little bit more detail of targets and try to get the detail of whether this is a really good opportunity right now to enter, or if we need to look for an opportunity later, or if we already missed the opportunity, okay? So it's always very important to consider if we missed the train. So there was the falling wedge. We got a breakdown. We lost the... Sorry, I'm doing Solana. There was something weird in the chart, and I was like, well, wait a minute. This is not Ethereum. There you go. Now we got Ethereum. I know it by heart. Even if I don't see the symbol, I say, what the hell is this doing? Ethereum lost support in here, right? We have this upward sloping support. We lost it. We produced this triangle. This is a new pattern. You're not going to see it in December. In December, I left you in here saying that this is a double bottom on the daily that should break out. Okay, then I went for holidays and I didn't look and I didn't edit this. So it went into the 59. It came back for a retest. While I was in the beach, you know, ordering just another beer and another beer, this thing came back for a retest and it produced a higher high. Okay, so looking good, promising after a breakdown. We need now to scan for where is the liquidity, where is the risk, is the risk still there, has it been wiped out or not. Remember, the first coin that we review in the video takes a lot more detail. Then we're gonna go faster through the next coins. If you request things in the chat, probably we're gonna review it a lot faster than Ethereum, which got a lot of votes. We got the breakout also in here. So this is the first breakout from this high, that high, and then in here at 3.1, we got a breakout on the price into 3.3. And that happened only here in the momentum. The momentum already broke out on the 4th of December when we were doing just this into 3.1. Okay, after that, there's been that. We haven't had a higher high. The higher high that we should deserve is to now go into 3.5 and take this cluster. Okay, the cluster that you can see on the right-hand side is pretty decent. I will compare it with the cluster of 2.661 in case we fail in here, in case we re-enter the triangle and we fall from the bottom, then we go to the 2.6. So that is the immediate risk of failure. If we don't hold 3,000, we start entering the gray area and 2.6 is back on the table. Below 2.6, we have these numbers, 1, 2, 3, which I left in December. They were already there. They have grown a little bit. They have gotten a little bit chunkier. Particularly the number 2 got really heavy. And that is the 2.1, which is the level I wanted to enter on Ethereum to average down my 3.8, which is a very small position. So even I could average it down from 3.1 and double down because it's so small relative to all that I was holding from the bear market. So this is an area of a retest. Let's assess if this is a great area to enter if you miss the train, because I feel like we have in this area missed the train already, right? So we have that pinch of the 2.6, then we have higher highs consistently, then a breakout there. So the best that we can aim for is to bet that 3,000 is gonna hold. Now, that is a little bit of a mixed bag because this support, it could turn into support as a retest on the daily, but we are very far from the most bullish support on the momentum. So why is that something bad? Because typically when you get overextended in here, eventually you meet with that most bullish support. And it can take some time, and hopefully it does it with the price taking longer rather than the price going down. Because you can reset RSIs in both ways. Going sideways, with very small decline and taking long to do that, or going sharply straight down, and then either way you test support on the momentum because the momentum has declined. And the second option, obviously, the one that takes longer and you stay there, is the most bullish. If we come back down below at 2.8, we are risking to go to 2.6, and then we have 1, 2, and 3 against us. That's the thing I don't want. And that's why I prefer to bet on 2-1, but you be my guest if you want Degen and you want to take a scalp in here and you have the capacity to monitor more assets, because it's all a matter of that. You can take more trades, but do not overtrade with too many assets if you have a 9 to 5 job and you cannot be all day looking at everything that's going on. Just drop the time frame to weekly and then just take 2 or 3 trades on different assets, and that is restricted to just that to stay sane. I will say. What else can we say? The upside, that promise that we could have another upside for Ethereum is located at the moment at $5,000. I distributed most of what I have at, as we approach 4.9. My last order of selling was 4.9. And at that point, I got rid of everything. And I published on Twitter, I don't have any more Ethereum. And at 3.8, I entered humbly and I say at 2.1, I'm going to enter another one if we go there. And that's it for me, okay? And just on spot, and I accumulate in that way. Okay, so we finished with Ethereum. I think Ethereum is starting to see some recovery on the weekly. We have a breakout on the daily. We now need to see how it plays with the most bullish support. Let's move on to Solana. After that, I'm going to do remix the rare earths, and then go into Chiliz, and then I'm going to start taking your requests, guys. So stay there. Don't go anywhere. Let's go with Solana on the weekly. Oh, before that, Ethereum against BTC. I promise you that, so I cannot move. We have also a breakout of Ethereum against a BTC pair. It has come down. It hasn't done the full retest there. And you can see how it's finding support around the 0.03, which was previous support in there. Okay. And my expectation, my bullish case, is to hold the 0.03 and to do another leg into 0.07. Yeah. For that, we need to hold the 0.03. If we lose the 0.03, yeah, we are going to 0.02, and that's just bear market, right? From there, we are going to form maybe a double bottom in here or do something like this, you know, a little bit disappointing accumulation, and then we start a new bull market. But if we really want another leg, we need Bitcoin to survive, to stay over 90, ideally go into 100, and then eventually flow into Ethereum, and Ethereum gets into 0.06, 0.07. That's the setup against BTC. Now, we can move on to Solana. Remember, any questions in the chat, I'm happy to see questions because that also helps the channel. I want to see this right. So what I wanted to see, it's actually happening. So Solana is starting to look bullish. I'm going to tell you why. In December, on the weekly, I was saying that there is an inverse cap and handle in here in the red. You can see it there. And unfortunately, it's so high. It's from 253 into 129. That's a neckline. That the target is $5, $6. So I say, let's ignore for a moment the target. Let's think about these lower lows that are potentially going to get into 65 at some point in the bear market. That could be the target if we lose that 129. In here, there has been already a liquidity hunt. It went low, reclaim, rally. Now we are going low, reclaim. So now question mark, rally or not rally, or disappointing rally, or breakdown and still downside. Plenty of options. So for that, let's look at what's going on with the RSI. Let's see if we can find something. I will say that Solana is doing similar to Ethereum, is building a formation that could turn into a double bottom. I left you in December around here, not yet a double bottom, but now on Solana we also have a double bottom. My not forecast, but I will say the upside is limit to this line of 58 on the weekly RSI. Of course, in between, we have coming in the 46 in the middle as a resistance. We'll see if we can reclaim that. And there's very little people on social network. We are also in a situation of the breakdown, and here longs are still not coming in for Solana, whereas on Ethereum, which typically gets more attention first, it's already here. So if Ethereum plays out good, then Solana is going to follow and do something like this. Longs are going to come back and take advantage of the move up of Ethereum, because there's a flow in crypto, first BTC, then Ethereum, and going lower in market cap. Remember that this is a reclaim, so that's bullish, and we are right there at the point of control of 142. So reclaim 142, and we can start discussing about any potential upside and what could be the upside. So let's take this 59. Let's use that as a potential initial target. 59. Is it enabled? Yeah, that 59 brings in around $200 of upside for Solana, just coming from visiting that resistance in there. Conditions for this to succeed. So check boxes. Bitcoin needs to be performing good. Ethereum needs to be performing good, or needs to have done some good performance to spread positive vibes to Solana as well. I think Solana still has a lot of activity as a network to call it, like a dead end, in my opinion. Let's go to Solana, Ethereum. Sorry, I'm gonna do it against, I have all the lines on Binance, so let's do it like this. ETH, USDT. There you go. So Solana is still in the squeeze in here. So the previous squeeze was this one into the bear market. Now, it's pretty much like momentum against Ethereum of Solana is also in a bear market, but you see that we are at the lows. The risk is to put a new low and to get into the 20s, which we did in the previous bear market with the FTX collapse, right? So there is still a risk standing for Solana. It can really, really be bad for this coin. It was really bad in the bear market. So do not disregard and say, okay, it has to be bullish, because Solana can kill a lot of people, and it did do that. I was expecting to see a higher low in here. Unfortunately, it didn't do it, but it came to support. It went to 0.04. That has been previous support, previous resistance, is a very important level, and we have a higher high potentially incoming. So if this goes like that, then we got a pivot. And with a pivot, you say, well, this is higher than this. We are starting to increase the chances of a rally into resistance, which is RSI 50. Let's see what happens if we go there. And that is a rally into 0.05, not yet a breakout. So we, careful with the 0.05. I'm going to leave a line right there. There seems to be something in between, so that's a heavy resistance on the weekly, which we need to monitor before we complete the double bottom. So that one could bleed below this support, could send the pair back down and then come back, potentially invalidating this higher low there and producing that sub 30 RSI that possibly is needed in the bear market. Maybe after hitting that 50 and sticking the head slightly up, sometimes there is some manipulation in the price moves. All right, so I think I haven't covered liquidity. So on Solana, this is the last coin I'm gonna go in so much detail. After this one, I'm gonna start going faster. So Solana on the daily is forming again some inverse, some cap and handle, some whatever pattern bullish against a neckline of 143. We are very far from the bullish support, and that comes in at 38. So probably, that will possibly take you back down at the low hundreds, maybe at 110 110, 120 if we have to test this support. So that's the risk at the moment. But if we remain there in the bull flag, we have a huge chance to go back and test the 143 and then break out. So I have placed already the target, the technical one, from the bottom of this into the neckline that puts on the table 171, which coincides with the order block of 166. So those are targets for breakout. But be careful, because just coming into support on the daily can bring you as low as 120, 110, and maybe pinch that liquidity of 114. So that's the risk. On the upside, there's still some liquidity, no longer red, but there's big chunks at 263 and 255. Middle ground, yeah, there's plenty of low-hanging fruit at 163, 148. That is motivation to go for there. But consider this, is larger at 114. So any drama on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, Solana is going to say, okay, flash it, and then it goes to these levels. Not guaranteed to go there, but any doubts on the major cap, then it sends Solana even lower. As soon as things go bullish for Bitcoin and Ethereum, then this low-hanging fruits becomes very easy to just grab. How fast? Well, look at how fast this went down. That is how fast this can decide, let's go for it, and it takes it in just 3-4 days, pretty much. Right, let's go with a remix, and I'm gonna do it on the weekly. This is Rare Earths. It's an ETF, and it's important to have a look on this because we have a bullish pattern in here. This is a cup and handle that is currently breaking out, confirmed. This is intra-candle, right? So we are not yet confirmed, but on Sunday, if we are still here at 85 or above 80 pretty much, that is a confirmed breakout. The target is pretty high. Let me see. Why did I place it here? Oh yeah, that's my neckline. So we are already breaking out confirmed. It depends. If you want to put the neckline, let me magnify this. If you want to put the neckline against the body, the highest body, which is 75, then we broke out in 22nd of December. In Christmas was the breakout. If you want to place it like with this line, because that is support, then we are just breaking out. But depending on which one you pick, then it's your target. That's why I place it around here. Based on the highest body, 75, the target is 116. And yeah, rare earths are extremely important for production of a lot of things, particularly related to technology these days. So it's worth keeping an eye on this. I'm probably going to start covering things like this more in my other channel, Crystal Gains. So make sure that you're subscribed to my second channel. That's where I cover anything to do with general markets and all of that. But yeah, I'm happy to do this during the Elite live streams. So there is a continuation. Things are looking promising. Do not break below 74. There's a big cluster of volume. There's previous support. So if you have to come back to 74, do it. If you have to intra-candle pinch up until 69, do it, okay? But come back as soon as possible above 74. Otherwise, the setup is a liquidity hunt. And a liquidity hunt in here means that they're trapping longs, they squash them to 70, and then they go very low, possibly into 50 or 60s, to really take them all down, forming another handle larger, and then still breaking out to the upside potentially. Because I think this asset is going to be bullish. It's just a matter of how much manipulation, how many people get liquidated in the way, the traders, or the bad traders, let's call it, before we go for the actual target. Let's go back to crypto now. I'm going to cover Chiliz, which I think is a coin related to an exchange. Was it related to sports? Oh my God, I remember holding this and I don't remember what it was. That's how good I am for fundamentals, you can see. This is very bad performance, my God. I remember having a bag of this and managing eventually to sell it. in profit, but it was pretty challenging. What's going on with this coin? There's so much noise. I haven't done TA on this in a long time. So we used to have support at 52, and we're coming in to test that as new resistance. Well, 54 really. So far we are trapped below 47, and we're getting already extended in the number of longs. We haven't had that many longs since September 2022. And what happened in there, one second. In there, we have a dead cat bounce in the middle of the bear market. We have a breakout. We push in here, hidden bearish divergence, and we put a new low in momentum and in the price. So, a lot of longs. Let me think. Let's go into liquidity as well. Let's go into liquidity. Chiliz. Let's see if we can get 3 months. And let's increase the ratio. Right, so we have a 42 some liquidation levels at 47, and there is some technical depth in here. 27 is heavy. Not that much. It's just because the price was bouncing twice at 27, and it created all this liquidity. Basically, all the people that enter in the long are with their risk there. So a failure of this rally could bring Chiliz back there. Ideally, you just want to wipe 42 and as deep as 40 and test it as new support and then resume to the upside, ideally. Let me drop this to the daily. So we have a cup and handle in here. Wow. Which date is this? Yeah, the liquidation is Binance, 10th of October. So it wiped all the liquidity to 98, very low. We have this cup and handle. And the neck is this. And the target is around 70. Momentum. Let's do it like that. So we are very far from the support. So hopefully this accelerates, but it's already at the percentile. It's already reaching the top on the daily. So it's very overextended. There's a lot of longs. So I'm not fully sure if in this circumstance, Chiliz can really break out from here in a successful way and manage to hold it as new support, the 46. That currently is the problem. We are seeing some socials spiking in here to 0.17, 0.18%, which is on the high end. Longs are on the high end as well, but there is a chance that this fails. If it fails, look up for another shoulder and a formation an inverse head and shoulder and the breakout from 46, and see if the next time we are better positioned at support when we are breaking out, or enter at this point, yeah, with a small position. Most people that are asking me for these coins is because they are well underwater, so they are asking me if this is gonna recover. Yeah, this can recover into the 68, into the 70, the previous support, and go there and wipe that liquidity. Most likely that is the maximum upside I see during bear market, unless we revert into a bull market. Let me see the questions now. Let's go for questions. Remember, guys, that I'm going to pick the coin from the top, the first person that requested a coin. I'm going to do that. And every time I look for a new coin, I'm going to look for the latest comment. So make sure that yours is the latest comment. Yes, that's going to make the chat a lot noisier, but it's also going to help my channel succeed. So thanks for that. Let's look for the first coin in here. Cheers from Chicago. Love from New York. Wow, we got all US looking. I am not the only one waking up early in the US to watch the analysis from him. I'm glad the entire Zcash team resigned after clash with the board of directors. Whoa, Can you check the charts of Zcash? Whoa, that is it's called Zec, sorry. Privacy coin. Let's have a look. And look on the weekly. So we were at the top of this pattern, right? So that was on 17th of November, and then it collapsed. So the kind of the modus operandi of privacy coins, Monero and Zcash, that we have observed in the charts is that if Bitcoin is pumping and it remains moving up for, you know, a few days, there's a mini rally, then suddenly within the rally you see privacy coins doing something great, like a mini pump, and out of nowhere, without any other coins doing anything. And we have been speculating in the channel that possibly it's because people are taking the profits from the exchange into a privacy network, so no one can trace the profits they are taking, and then, you know, rinse and repeat. So if Bitcoin was in a rally and Zcash is around the lows in here, if Bitcoin is in a rally, you could take advantage of that, not necessarily just on Zec, or if there are fundamental reasons to stay away from this, possibly not on Zcash, but in that case in Monero. Stronger argument to do it on Monero. Now, price action. Let's look at this pattern, because the pattern that is forming this is ugly as F, okay? Longs are pulling out with lower lows. We have a higher low in here, but the longs are pulling out, the shorts are coming in, and we are approaching support at 49 on Zcash. Let's see where that is. The support is a slightly low at 290. It's support coming in on the weekly, similar to these areas in here, similar to this one. But we got a pattern that is a little bit scary, and I'm hoping that it's going to play with the bullish case. I'm going to tell you both potential outcomes of this. If price comes in here and it pinches the weekly support at 293, and you enter with a small position with a slightly lower low relative to that one, the 303, and this reclaims the 394, yeah, something like that, then you get an opportunity to see some rally from there. Just basically a bear trap. But if this guy comes in here and it doesn't hold the weekly support, then it comes in the bear case, which is the inverse cup and handle that has a very, very ugly target, probably in the negative. Yeah, it's got a negative target because it's a really ugly pattern. It's a huge rally and then forming a cup and handle. It's like, well, you know, you can form there an inverse head and shoulders, an inverse cup and handle, Bart Simpson. And when you do it right after such an aggressive rally, it can extend the move down very sharply. When do we have support? We have another support in here. 234. Well, that's resistance. And we got that one, yeah, of course. The 384. And that's it. So we got two cases. So you need to monitor which one plays out, because of course I got no clue what's going to happen. Next questions. Now that I did Zcash, I'm going to always focus on what's the latest comment. So let's go with Chainlink. Right. Oh, double bottom on the momentum, but against resistance. Well, it reclaims slightly resistance, but it could turn into a retest. So the 41 could turn into support, and then we could resume there. I still have some Chainlink, which I was naively thinking I was going to sell at the highs of the momentum, but nope. I was thinking that I was being conservative because I was thinking we are going to get to 37 at that point. Between here, 27 and 37, that's where I'm going to distribute. Of course, all the other channels were calling for $300 or whatever. I say between 27 and 37. I was so conservative, and still that stupid resistance pushed this back into support. So just a matter of now waiting longer, because I think Chainlink is a good coin, but I'm not going to sell it at a loss. I'd rather it goes to zero. But what are we doing in here with the support? So there is a battle in here definitely going on. You can see that this has enough merit to potentially turn into a double bottom that went below support and reclaimed support. But for that, we need to rehold 13. We have support also on the horizontal, which is 12, around 12 to 13. Let's reclaim that on a weekly basis. Let's fully form the double bottom, and then we can start talking about a move to the upside. Let me see if I have long-term link in here. Yeah, there you go. Let's see what's levels of, whoa, so much liquidation. Yeah, that's prior to that. Still, there's a lot. Okay, so the biggest one is 28. That's in line with the beginning of my conservative expectation, right? So to go there to 28. If you get to 28, we can form a huge double bottom that has a target for the people looking for hopium to hit the green line once again. 1, 2, and 3. So you form the double bottom from this end of $13. You form it at 27. At that point, you liquidate a big chunk. I wish the liquidation was at 29 or 30 to also help us breaking out the support. But yeah, hey, 27. Decent enough to attract the price to 27. Then break out and go into 45, which is the target of this not yet ready double bottom. For that, first task at hand is let's reclaim 13. Second, form the double bottom, break out, go into 16, 18, and start building something that looks and mimics a lot more this much clearer double bottom. Not like that one, but ideally something very clear so we get a target technical like we did in 2025 when we were looking at that one that play out. So if we get into 17, then we got a decent formation that can take you back up as well. Now, failure. If we lose, we have here a volume profile at 7. That's the biggest risk, probably. Not even looking at this. At 11, we have the biggest chunk. Let's put the 28 out of the chart so we get normalized the chart with other chunks of liquidity. So we got 24, and all this way, there's so much liquidity. So I will say that if this double bottom doesn't form, there is a chance of taking all of this. 12 to maximum 10. 12 to 10 is, very easy to take if there is a failure. So risk management mode in the mind, thinking whatever I do, if it fails, it can take that. So no hopium of, I'm going to think that if I buy it, I don't need a stop loss because probably it's just not gonna come to 13. No crystal balls in here trading, okay? Data. Then upside, there's something really good, which I like. From 15 to 24, we got a big chunk. Up until 21, then it declines a little bit. So there is a little bit of doubts whether we can cross the 21 into 24. But this chunk in here is pretty decent. You can see how sharply the cumulative goes up relative to this one. This one goes sharply up until 9, and then it kind of remains shallow. Anyways, that's Chainlink. Let's go with the next coin, and we're gonna do XLM, which is the next coin. Keep putting in the comments your coins so you win the chance to be the next one. XLM, which mirrors a lot what XRP is doing. We got a potential liquidity hunting coming in here. You can see how the level of 22 on Stellar has been support. We lost it on a weekly basis for 3 weeks and reclaimed. We have seen now a small rejection going on this week, but we need to defend 2258. So if we defend that, and next week we put a green candle with a higher high, that is going to make all of this look like a liquidity hunt that has some relief to the upside to be had. That relief, you can pretty much use this to see where it can take us. It's a channel which is not technically perfect. You know, I'm speculating it's like that, but I probably should do it like this. Even better, because that is a kind of falling wedge. It's a sideways to falling wedge. Similar to this one, but less pronounced. Okay, so this one was more bullish. It broke out. It produced a double bottom, and then boom. No one was poke in the shoulder. Hey, dude, we are in accumulation area. We print a double bottom. You were looking at this and thinking, yeah, there's nothing there. There's just support. And suddenly, boom. So if you are expecting anything to happen on XLM, wait for, I'm not going to tell anybody, right? So something like this, then like that, and then suddenly a move up. But lower your expectation, I will say. It doesn't matter really. So as soon as you're in profit, break even. We are in a most likely bear market. So any longs that are not protected is like pretty much going to the street with a label that says, I'm an idiot. Just kick me wherever you want. You know, I like being beaten on the floor. You know, it's my hobby. Don't do that. Yeah, this is just a joke. Anyways, Trump. Okay, let's go with Trump. I still remember putting the video on Coin Bureau Trading about Trump, saying that it's gonna be a disaster. A disaster. And I got slammed by people supporting Trump like crazy. It turned into a political thing, my TA, which it wasn't intended. But yeah, that's what happened. I say it's gonna be a disaster. And everybody was writing down comments that Trump will never, ever, ever do anything bad to the holders, that, you know, you're gonna get a dinner with him, that you can get laid with him or whatever crap. Anyways, we got a lot of longs though. More longs, as many longs as in November. What happened in November? Well, we moved from $2 to $10. Whoa, that's a big range. It doesn't look like a big range because it's squashed by the disaster, but this from October, well, yeah, that's the liquidation, of course. Is it? Yeah, this should be on the weekly time frame. So this is the week of the liquidation on Binance. But now we're going to have resistance at $6. That's what's holding us. And we got the longs coming in. Currently coming down. Support on the weekly is at 25. And ooh, that's $2.5. That resonates with the 5 support. Is it gonna really go there? Well, if it goes to support on the weekly, that's pretty much where you should be looking for to find support initially, and then let's see if that support holds. And in terms of liquidity, in the last 3 months, we got some liquidations up until 6.5. Pretty much all of them shorts. There is some liquidity at 4.5, but 6.5 is very heavy. Here they took out the shorts before collapsing. So there is a chance of going into 5.8 or going into 6.75 and then hitting lower liquidity. Yep, there's a chance that that could happen. Next one is Syrup, Maple finance. Is this on crypto? Guys, if you're asking something that is not crypto, make sure that you put there is the ETF, because I'm gonna go crazy trying to find it in crypto or in stocks or in ETF. Ideally put the full symbol, which you can do. Let me find it. Let me do an attempt to find Syrup to not disappoint you. Maple Finance. Syrup. Oh, okay, I'm gonna do this one from TradingView. I'm pretty sure that that should be it. It's probably, sorry, General Markets TA, which I also love. So it lost support in here and now it's approaching it as resistance on the weekly time frame. Let's see if we got resistance coming in on the weekly. This is widening like this, or you could do it like that, but it's still widening. It's the same. And on the price, we got resistance as well. So we have confluence of resistance in this area there on Syrup. If it breaks out the 4, oh, I'm doing the market cap for F's sake. So look, this is Syrup, right? Then you, with the keyboard, you go down and you select the one that you want me to do. So let's assume you want crypto. So it looks like this. And if it's Syrup, it looks very similar, by the way. It's a channel and it's at the top of the channel. It's a parallel channel. So there is an opportunity to short this. Let's go into the daily and let's see what's going on with it. RSI. So there is a potential breakdown on the daily on Syrup against weekly resistance. There is the point of control at 44, which is more or less where there is this order block here. So be careful with this not breaking out right there. There can be also a breakdown and then a push up. Let's say you go to 52, that's kind of typical, just speculative, and we go to 33, you reset a little bit momentum and then you get a revenge rally. So I wouldn't say this is against resistance to long, right? So that's kind of nuts. But if you look for a support in here and you build a position, you could follow the trend, which is currently up, but you are very overextended. Look, it's the most overextended it's been on the daily since June 2025, since listing, which could indicate that maybe it's going to break out, but it's a high risk to enter around this range, definitely. Let's go with the next one. Let's do SUI, which I have stayed away since the third wave, the beginning of the third wave, which was extremely disappointing. Let's look at the price, RSI, double bottom forming. Right. Let's look at just the price. So we are forming a double bottom above the 1.3 support. It was breaking out in whichever way you want to see it. There was a breakout. So if you put the neckline like that, there was already a breakout last week and a follow through that went already into the technical target, because the technical target in this way, so squash, you get very quickly to $2 and that's done. Okay. But if you put the neckline like this, you could argue that the breakout is starting, is being confirmed this week. We are just doing the candle that goes beyond that level of the 171. If we close the week with this rejection, I will look for other formations instead of thinking, well, that was a breakout. If we take a snapshot and say we close the week just like this, I will say, no, I don't like that breakout. It's a breakout, but it comes with a bittersweet feeling of a rejection too intense. The rejection is from the $2, the previous support. If we get the breakout, and we close at 2, if things flip bullish this week and we end up closing at 2, that, that's great. That's fantastic because we reclaim the $2 and we put on the table 2, 5, and 3. Let's look at the RSI because I want to see where is the point of contact in here once we meet with that resistance. Remember, SUI has had 3 waves. A first one, which is top-notch performance, everything perfect, up, breakdown, down. Double bottom, up, breakdown. This is where everything became funky and nonsense. Breakout, too much of a retracement, and that's it, okay? At that point, gray area, disaster, and underperformance, loose bull support band of the RSI, and now it's forming a double bottom, which promises low performance because of the deteriorated performance in here. So you have breakout, then you put a pivot in here, layer 2 breakout, disaster, most bullish support lost, bull cycle support lost. So we can aim for 47, and if we break beyond 47, if you're risk free at 47 and you want to just trail your stop loss into that one and then expect that we're really gonna go to 82, which I think is not gonna happen, then be my guest. But let's put that number, which is 47.20 on the chart. 47.2. That's 2.1. So we've been already very close to that weekly. In an intra-candle way, we were almost about to touch the white line. And there is a rejection. So we could say that the $2 to $1 on SUI is a make or break for another leg up that is a bit more significant than just getting into $2, which is nothing. So close beyond 2.1 to 2 or 47 here, and then pay attention if you already build along in the double bottom formation. Or if you were in a long here and you average around here and your average is in between, then lock in that profit whenever you are in profit, because the performance of SUI, I'm expecting it to be disappointing. Render, let's go with render. We got 10 more minutes to do TA. What the hell is this? Breakout, and wow, such a puke. What happened with render? Look, we were even speculating to get double bottoms like this. We formed a double bottom. It was a disaster. Yeah, the breakout was in July, retest. Imagine being at that retest without a stop loss. Yeah, and then you get dragged all the way to 28. Oof. Been there, done that, never again. So we were looking for this double bottom. Let's destroy these broken theories. That is gone on render. And we went for the next support at 1.3. Liquidation on Binance, wiped all that, but we have found support here. So what are we doing from support? In terms of RSI, we need to place this like that. So render is taking the lead against the other coins we've seen, because it really squashed everybody to 27. Is now testing a weekly breakout. There's been a weekly already, so that was the breakout that failed. This is the layer 2, which could come in this week if it succeeds. So far, the price is pushing it. So let's put the RSI at 41.14. 41.14. So that's the level that we need to defend to remain in a breakout. But similar to other coins, if you get a breakout, you don't want to close a breakout with a candle that starts from the breakout, it reaches almost good targets, and then it gets completely rejected. It's not nice. Yeah, let me think. So if we get to the 2.8, how is this gonna look like? So if we get like this, yeah, that's too far ahead. Go back to the RSI. Well, we have the breakout in here. Let's look at the liquidity to see what's attractive. We already liquidated 1.821. What's next? Well, everybody's being liquidated there. There's still the 1.112 hanging. Above, there is not a lot of attractive shorts. There's not a lot of people shorting there. People were shorting 1.8 and they got squashed already. Not a lot of opportunities on render, really. I'm not gonna lie. Let's do DOT. Okay. By the way, if you are an elite trader in my Patreon community, I have the chat right there. So whatever you write as an elite patron is priority. In the chat, still on the elite, no one has said anything. So make sure that to take advantage of your subscription. Let's look at DOT. Why there is a line here? Okay, previous support. Now resistance, that's a 228. No breakout yet. I can see I was speculating how we approach that resistance. None of the ideas have played out. I will say a bit of this one, but you see, no crystal ball in here, just physics. This eventually is gonna meet with this yellow line. The question is how? Doing a double bottom or straight now into 40? Because I will say that DOT has used the 37 as support in the cycle. This is 2023. It's not as clear. It's around this level. This is bear market. This is 2023, 2024, 36, and breakout, failure, breakout, failure. What's wrong with Polkadot? And now we have another resistance. So this will be 1, 2, 3, layer 3 breakout. So we really should be expecting very little from Polkadot at the moment. If we manage to break beyond the 2.2, then there is a potential to extend that into $3 or into the support of 3.7. Yeah. But so far there's nothing confirming that this is it. The reclaim of the 2.3 is something, I will have to say, because that will reclaim also the 36 on the RSI, and that could bring in some relief. But if you enter on that trade fresh from the lows, locking your profits immediately, because this is a red alert of poor performance so far. Look at that. I mean, it's lower than the previous cycle. No, disgusting. Next coin is, do you think if Trump sends out 2,000 checks by June, there could be a post-COVID style recovery? I don't think so. Just my hand in the heart. I have no clue. Let's start with that. I have no clue. But in my opinion, retail is, number one, decimated economically. The things are going really bad for retail. Number two, whichever retail is trading is not trading crypto. They don't care about crypto this cycle. Why? Because they're chasing what's performing. Think about the psychology of retail. They follow the money. They follow what's already. They don't follow the money. That is what institutions do. But retail, what they follow is the uptrend. Whatever rallies the faster, that is what they want to trade. And at the moment, that is pretty much AI, and AI is being invested mostly by retail. The institutions are shorting the bubble, and the hedge funds are starting to put some shorts against the market, and retail is all in with AI. So it's for the perfect situation for a disaster, and they have not invested in crypto because they have seen that crypto is not doing much. That's the reality. They're trading what's shiny this cycle, which is AI. That's it. And metals and AI. That's it. We still got time for a short TA on BNB. Let's do it. And they're asking for the daily. I'm going to start with weekly just to see the big picture, because on the weekly we are at support at 46.92 on the price that has also tested $800 roughly. We got rejected at 1,298, which was perfectly the golden pocket. That was the rejection that we experienced so far after, this move into 691, collapse, boom, golden pocket, perfect. Now we are testing the previous high of $800. Let's drop it to daily. Let's see what else we can find on the daily. I'm pretty sure you can see in here how all the signals are saying, start averaging in. There's an opportunity incoming, and we're starting to see on the daily some higher lows, but we are seeing a level that is proving tough so far, which is 920, and that comes from this era. Like around here, the 920 was support, and then it turned into resistance twice, and now it's being used again. Let's see on the daily. Yeah, there are some lines that look crazy here, and that's because the chart is normally being used on the weekly, and I have it like that, right? So let's remove this line. I don't need it anymore, but I need the yellow one because it's the weekly support. We have a double top, the double bottom, smaller but similar to this one. So there could be here some relief. So if you are trading the support on the weekly and you're already in profit, lock in that profit, and let's speculate that this could have some relief. As high as this, not sure. So for that, I will place a line, and let's say we really get lucky. No, I don't think we're gonna get to 76. No, let's leave that on. I'm not gonna say 76 is doable, because I don't think so. Let's look for a target on the daily, something a little bit smaller, more realistic. So the rally on the daily is intact, right? 1, 2, 3. Now we are very far from the bullish support, which is 45, 46 on the daily. That's the level that needs to be defended. So if you enter at the lows, if you build a position during the red, during the carnage, during the extreme fear in the market, then now you are in profit and you're looking to defend your position. You're trailing, which you can do trailing with levels of support and resistance, or you can do it with the RSI, right? You put the bullish support there and you defend that 45, which can get pinched and still rally, but somehow you have to find a compromise and trail. If you don't trail, you never get to experience trades that rally long into profit. Let me see, there is a triangle forming in here on Binance specifically, which could lead into another test at 853. Yeah, potentially. But we are flipping the volume weighted moving average potentially into support at 870. If we hold that one and we did this and we go back into 920, then we got some sort of inverse head and shoulder that can take the price to around $1,000 on Binance for the daily. So that's the hopium. It can fail, of course. It can go to 856 and then break down. So have also a bearish thesis. That's the bullish one. And for the time, we are well beyond the time. I'm sorry, guys. Are you planning on doing TA on stocks anytime soon? I'm doing on stocks every day. You have to subscribe Crystal Gains TTP channel in YouTube. Yeah, I'm publishing the videos on Twitter, on Telegram, so people can also find them easily. But all the general markets, all indices, stocks, Forex, everything is going to be right there, including metals and everything. Is going to be in a separate channel just because YouTube really doesn't like that I do TA on that. I mean, think about this. I was putting general market videos on the Trading Parrot and they were getting less views than in a new fresh channel that had 0 subscribers. So definitely the algorithm was forcing me not to do general markets. Anyways, someone is saying the bull market is over. Just brace for impact. Thanks so much, guys. And remember, if you want your coins reviewed guaranteed, join the Elite on Patreon. You also get summaries of BTC videos every day, like a 2 to 3 minute video that goes to the Elite members. If you want to be part of the Patreon community and just get the articles with the summaries of the videos, you can sign up for BTC articles, which is the cheaper tier